So we got all the cars moved out of the way. Got the 540i there and 525 up there. We got it running nicely. I'll insert some clips of it running and, you know, with the alternator back on and everything, but I was driving it around. Every single thing works on the car. It had a problem with the seat, all of a sudden didn't work with the steering wheel, and looking online it said to remove this cover here. Just pop that off. It's a Torx, another Torx in there. This whole cover comes off and there's a plug that plugs into this, and apparently if that plug comes loose the steering column won't move if the seat doesn't move, because they're connected with this memory switches here. I just removed it. The plug was still good, and I just moved the harness around the wiring, and all of a sudden they both started working. So maybe there's a short somewhere, I'm not sure. After I do the brakes today, I'll be driving it around to see if the seat stops working again, and if it does, probably have to remove it. But today, after I drove it for an hour or so, the front brakes are super warped really badly. They shake like crazy after 80. So today we're going to be doing that. I'll show you sort of a few clips about steps to take to change the pads and rotors in the front. Tires off, jacks on, jacking point, always jack stand, always tire. The bolts are only 17 come off at first, and if that happens, just give it a couple good hard kicks up here and it will break the seal. You can tell these have not been off for a long time. These discs are right done. Look at that lip. Like, look at that lip. Like, I could fit my whole fingernail in there. It's huge. Down here too. Pads are almost new, so I guess they must have changed the pads but left the shitty rotors on. So there's two caps that cover the bolt slash sliders for the caliper. They look like this. They go right here, right in there. Two bolts, and it's going to be an Allen key, which is size. This one says HW7. It's a Mastercraft set. So we're gonna pull those out. We got the caliper bolts. These are also the sliders off. That's what they look like. Before you put these in, it's a good idea to emery cloth this area down. It's nice and smooth. Put some never sees on them. So now all we do is we take a bar, put the bar in between the caliper and the I guess the bracket, and just kind of pry it off, and then we'll tie it up with some tie wire up here to the shock so it doesn't put any stress on this brake line. We got the bracket off. Two 18mm bolts in the back, one there, one there. Now we got one more on the rotor here, another Allen key. We'll take that off. So we got that Allen bolt off the caliper there. It is a wrong one. It's this one here, HW6. Now one thing that I would have done differently is that bolt was very tight, so this thing was just spinning freely, and I had no way to hold it, so I was able to impact it with a reducer down to the 3/8 drive here. But in the future, the next side I will push the brake, get someone to push the brake and take that off first, and then take my bracket and everything off after that. I cleaned up the surface and the hub with this Brillo pad here as best I could, and I coated it in Never Sees. The Never Sees just helps it. Oh, right up there, gotta get that. The Never Sees just helps it for future owner when they want to do the brakes next time. It's easier to get the rotor off because this rotor was quite seized on there. I had to bang it pretty good to get it off, but we won't have that problem next time. We got everything back on. The disc, caliper, bracket. I forgot to mention there's this clip here. It just hooks in, just pry it out. It's real easy. It keeps the caliper Basically keeps this part of the caliper from moving, because these two bolts in the back, if this isn't here, this move like this. And then basically just repeat the same thing on the other side, and that's it. So that's it. Brakes are pretty straightforward on that. And I took it for a little test drive and has no more shakes, and it brakes really well. So that's it for this video.